Well, I look at these guys that's up in the top 5 right now, and you just saw Denny Hamlin and his 11 crew. Remember, they won that pit crew challenge the other night, sitting there 5th. I think any spot that you can pick up on pit road right now, go back to last year, Kurt Busch's group, they picked up 3 spots on that 4-tire stop. But the one observation, guys, and a lot can happen in 10 laps, when I look at our top 5, 4 of those drivers, they have never won this all-star race.
Larry, great observation. But, you know, Mike, you said something about the pit crew. This is really where teamwork's really going to kind of come into play, because if this team does what they're supposed to, they're going to give that driver a shot of adrenaline, the confidence that he's up front, to go out there and really chase $1 million. And I think that's what everybody's kind of feeling right now, the nerves of knowing it's going to come down to what we can do together. The crew does their job here in a moment, and then that driver basically lay it all on the line for 10 laps.
What you're saying, Jeff, is somebody's going to make $1 million move right here in a moment.
Couldn't say it any better, Darrell. I mean, that's exactly what it boils down to. You know where the driver's mind is. That's like Carl. He knows what he needs to do. Jimmy Johnson knows what he needs to do. But he's going to need a little bit of help to put it all together, and it's going to come down on these guys when they come down pit road if they can nail it or not, Larry.
Well, I don't mean to shortcut any of the drivers, especially Carl Edwards, who has led so much of this race. But if I've got 10 laps and I know I've got at least 1 restart, I want Kyle Busch in my corner.
You said that earlier tonight, didn't you?
I believe I might have.
And there's a good chance that Matt Kenseth, who right now is 7th, may well restart higher than that. His crew has been one of, if not the best in this business all season.
Well, back in '96 when I won this thing, Darrell, I lined up on the outside of row 2. I had 2 cars in front of me between me and winning the All-Star race. That was key. I think you got to come from those. Back then, that was key, to come from those first 2 rows. But now, the way these guys run into each other, who knows where you could come from and win this baby.
I like being on the front row. That's all I can tell you.
All right, 10 laps to go, and we don't yet know how they will restart, and it's just 10 green flag laps. It's a whole lot different than what we're going to see right here next Sunday night.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
600 miles, 400 laps. This racetrack can be treacherous.
This race is 100 miles longer than any other race that we run.
Today ought to be a barn burner. It'll be wild.
The Coke 600 on Fox. It's a twilight 600 miler.
Stay tuned to NASCAR on Fox.
5:30 Eastern Time, Sunday at Memorial Day weekend. Hope you'll join us on Fox.
This is just maybe an hour-and-a-half headache here. That's a 4.5-hour headache come Sunday night, because that's a lot of thinking and a lot of driving in one night.
So now it's time for the pit crews to get their driver all that they can get. The pace car will lead them around, and when pit road opens, 4 tires must be changed. The first car off pit road will be the first car to the green flag for the 10-lap shootout.
I like what you said, Mike. That Kenseth team, they always do special things on pit road. He could gain a couple spots here, and it'll be fun to see what Denny Hamlin is able to do with that #1 pit stop.
See, I think that's going to be, I think that might be the key. That team is fast. They won that challenge. They got that #1 pit stall. And look at them. Look at the intensity in those guys' face.
They want this opportunity. They want to show the world that they're the best.
Hamlin got him, you know, he was back in 11th, 12th position for a long time. He got him in a position to do something with this pit stall and make something happen.
Denny Hamlin started 15th. He is now 5th.
We talked about you better charge up to the top 5, get inside that top 10 throughout the night, gain that momentum all night long. This is the key. Continue the momentum. Have a great stop. Have your driver up on the chip ready to roll for these 10 laps.
Well, I said earlier, you know, Kyle Busch is the king of restarts. I mean, I'll give him that, and I think most everybody will. But what's going to happen here is this pit stop could determine where he's going to do that restart from.
We listened in on Jeff Gordon.
Man, just keep your eyes open. A lot can happen here. Yeah. I've seen the highlights, man. It's I'll be ready. Oh yeah.
I think he was tipping his spotter off to say,
yeah.
Get ready for this. I'm not sure you're going to believe it.
I think everybody's a little nervous. Remember when Jeff Gordon went off into turn #1 to take the green flag for the All-Star race, and it poured down in turn #1, whacked the wall. A whole bunch of people did. NASCAR made a great decision They said, you got backup cars? Get them out. Let's go.
2000,
and he wins with a backup car.
And he won in a backup car.
That was 2001, and he hadn't won since.
Regan Smith needs a push, we're told.
Where'd he go?
He's down in turn 1 on the apron.
It'll fire up, but it won't run. It just don't fire off, and that's it.
A little bit of a delay.
Push truck C.
So they may not open pit road this time.
The intensity continues to build as we wait for this car to be pushed out of the way.
He might be, sound like he might be out of fuel.
And here's Greg Biffle.
Still low on gas?
Yeah, just a couple, just 2.
Take about 30 yellows and 3 green white checkers, so you'd have to worry about it.
That ought to be enough.
Now, I've seen guys run out of gas over here.
Jeff Gordon.
We just talked about Jeff Gordon. Talked about one he won. I remember one he lost because they cut it too close.
They didn't want to put fuel in the car. They wanted it to be as light as it could possibly be. They just didn't quite put enough in it. And did Mark Martin do that too?
Can't remember on Mark. I just remember that Jeff had the car that was going to win the race.
Regan Smith gets a push start. Next week, the world will be watching when Giants Barcelona take on Man U in the UEFA Champions League final. Coverage begins Saturday, May 28th, 2 p.m. Eastern, and only on Fox.
Tell you what, next weekend, this is a great event here, no question. But next weekend, the Indy 500, the Coke 600, Formula One, man, I mean, it's all day racing.
And UEFA soccer.
And then a little soccer.
Regan Smith gets pushed to pit road. He said it would fire, but it just wouldn't run.
I think he's done, Mike. Darrell said not to count anyone out.
I think he's out of fuel, maybe. But he needs to get off. Yeah, but it'd be good if he was off pit road when the other guys come in for their stop.
See, they're waving him off because pit road was closed.
And you're right, Darrell, because he's one stall before Carl Edwards, and that's going to just throw Carl's timing, his team's timing off just a little bit. We need to get him out of the way so Carl will have a clean entry.
What wouldn't be fair for him to be there and mess up a couple of guys around him and everybody else will clean in.
Look at the crowd on hand for tonight's race. Marcus Smith told me last night that ticket sales were ahead of last year for tonight's All-Star race, plus a nice walk-up crowd. There are good tickets remaining, but ticket sales are also ahead of last year for next Sunday night's Coca-Cola 600.
And the big TV screen on the back, the concert, all the pre-race stuff. I tell you, these fans were rocking. This was as big a crowd, as big a rocking crowd as I've ever seen here at Charlotte.
Look at that TV.
That baby is right.
Nice shot of Kevin Harvick. Dirks Bentley played a concert this afternoon. Julie Roberts will play a post-race concert.
Getting anything?
No.
We got a remote control with that thing, but they must have unhooked it.
Yeah, it's about 4 feet tall.
Yeah, it's as big as the screen.
200 by 80 feet. 4 months to build it. 158 LED panels. 9 million LEDs. 11,000 man hours to create that big screen. And what resolution. Wow.
I'm just not sure about this 78 car still on pit road.
I think the only car.
And pit road is open and they're still sitting there.
4 tires, mandatory pit stop. First off pit road will be first to the restart. Green flag. Dick Bergman.
And Bob Osborne has told his crew, be smooth. Carl Edwards is working as best he can to get around that 78 car without it interrupting his flow. Matt.
An opportunity, Dick, for these athletes on pit road to showcase their talent. Nick O'Dell and Jake Simonera, the tire changes for Kyle Busch going to work. Meanwhile, on the 16 at Biffle, Rodney Fetters, DW, 1 year old Jackman. He's already around on the left side. Steve.
Matt, Nick, Chris Manich, and Mike Hicks, the tire changes on the 11. Crew Chief Mike Ford said, hit this one out of the park, boys. A little bit of a problem on the left front. Little slow stop for the 11.
Edwards, Busch, Biffle on the first 3. Kenseth from 7th to 4th. How about that?
Think any of them got in trouble, Darrell? They were racing hard off pit road.
I think they're all right. Just, I'd hate to have to figure. I'm glad we got this line here to figure out who came across when. Look at this group coming right behind here.
Watch this glob.
Watch this.
Whoa.
Hello.
001114.
Wow.
The big gainer in that group was Matt Kenseth. The big loser, Tony Stewart, dropped 3 spots exiting pit road from when he came in. And Jeff Gordon dropped 2 spots.
Hamlin, they didn't take
guys. Hopefully I can do my part here. Good job. Thanks for getting us back in here.
That's Matt Kenseth, and he's right.
+3.
He's on that. He's right where I wanted to be, Mike, up on that first or second row. I think if I can see the front, I can get to the front.
Well, the Killer Bees did it again for Kenseth, the biggest gainer on pit road. And now the next green flag will be for a 10-lap shootout.
Kenseth is just like old David Pearson used to be. He just kind of ride along, and all of a sudden when it come time for the money to get the big check, he became a player.
Edwards and Busch will restart on the front row. Biffle and Kenseth. That gives Jack Roush 3 of the front 4 positions on this restart. David Rudiman up for 5th. Denny Hamlin 6th. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman the top 10. Then Boyer, Reagan, Kurt Busch, Harvick, and Martin and the field.
You know who I saw walking around the infield today? I was shocked when I saw him talking about Edwards and the Fords of Roush. It was Edsel Ford. He was walking around just like a race fan, had his program, and he was walking through the crowd.
He is a big race fan.
Yep.
Always has been. Getting ready for this restart. 10 green flag laps to decide it all. Carl Edwards has never banked the $1 million for the All-Star race. Can he do it?
I don't know.
I've been with him all night.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
that's why you get the big money, Darrell. Huh?
No, I mean, he's my pick. I think he can, but this is one of those races where I don't even want to watch the first couple of laps. It's
Michael,
so
help us out.
The key is going to be this restart. We talked about it at the beginning of the day. It's just so hard to get 875 horsepower hooked to the ground. There's a little bit of dew in the air. You know, it's getting cooler. These tires are going to struggle to hook up. We've seen Carl Edwards almost in the infield on a restart. So if he can nail the restart, I like his chances. But getting that done, it isn't easy.
7 different winners in the last 7 years. That list does not include Kyle Busch. Maybe it's time.
He's the restart king, and that's going to pay off.
Matt Kenseth got that great pit stop. He's in a position to win. Greg Biffle led the most laps tonight. Maybe.
I don't know if you can tell or not. Me and my brother are a mess. I mean, we've been in this battle, Mike. We've been out there trying to win the All-Star race. We know what these drivers are up against.
Well, and how about your driver, David Rudiman, up there in 5th place?
Well, the team did a great job on pit road, got him out, but all night long he's had a fast car, so he's in a position to win the All-Star race.
And with our 2 guys that are going to start on the front row here, can you say Phoenix? Do you have a memory of? Do you think back to Phoenix? These 2 guys were not happy with each other at Phoenix.
If you remember at Phoenix, Carl was on the inside of Kyle. Kyle comes off the turn, runs into the wall, and runs into Carl and knocks Carl out of the race, and he had the fastest car. Okay, Carl's down on the inside of Kyle now. Will he pay him back? Give him that. You talked about it's time to get even.
But you know what? Here's the other thing I think you got to keep an eye on. That 99 has got some help up there. He's got 2 teammates right there. Kyle Busch is surrounded by those Roush Fords.